Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher-emperor, was living in a time full of countless challenges, as he found himself facing tremendous personal and political pressures. During his reign, he had to lead the Roman Empire amid bloody wars and continuous crises, while at the same time losing many of his loved ones, including his children. Imagine, dear reader, what it would be like when you find yourself carrying the weight of the entire world on your shoulders, while your heart collapses from the pain of loss and loneliness. But Marcus, instead of surrendering to grief or giving in to despair, chose to turn to meditation and writing to rearrange his thoughts. In one of his deep moments of contemplation, he wrote in his famous book Meditations that happiness and peace do not come from the outside, but from within, from the quality of the thoughts we hold. If Marcus, in the midst of this immense struggle, was able to remain steadfast and find meaning in the pain, is it reasonable that we too cannot overcome moments of isolation and injustice? The story here is not only about the emperor, but about every person who has the courage to face their own self and discover the true strength within them. Have you ever felt invisible, or that your existence has become meaningless to someone you thought saw everything in you? Let me tell you something. This moment that seems painful on the surface is actually the moment that can change your life forever. Not because it ends something, but because it begins something greater, the rediscovery of the self. In this video, we will talk about how Stoic philosophy can turn neglect or distance into a golden opportunity for growth and liberation. My friend, this is not just cold philosophical talk, but a deep human experience that many have gone through and emerged from stronger and more aware of their true value. I promise you that by the end of this video, you will look at those moments that seem difficult from a perspective you never thought of before. But before we start, if you find this type of content helpful and inspiring, I ask you to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Not just to support us, but because together we are building a space for contemplation and personal growth. Now let's dive deeper into how to face these moments with the philosophy of the great Stoics. The importance of self-esteem, my friend, is clearly evident in moments like those when you find yourself neglected or distanced from. At that moment, you may feel like a heavy burden is weighing on your heart, as if something is missing inside you. But the truth that should always remain present in your mind is that your value is not determined by what others do to you. Your value is not in the number of people who love you, nor in who cares about you, nor even in who chooses to stay in your life. Your true value comes from within you, from the way you see yourself. Imagine with me that you are a rare gem. Does the value of this gem change if someone decides to ignore it? Of course not. Its value remains constant because it is derived from its nature and essence. And this is exactly how your view of yourself should be. Steady, not shaken by the changing attitudes or actions of others. The Stoic philosophers always emphasize that true control lies within. You do not have control over the actions of others or how they treat you, but you have full control over how you interpret those actions and how you respond to them. Now, let me ask you honestly, why allow the actions of others to determine your emotions? Why let someone's neglect make you question your value? Stoicism teaches us that the answer is simple, because you are the one who gives others this power. Yes, you are the one who decides whether they can influence you or not. But what if you decided today to reclaim this power? What if you stood in front of the mirror and said to yourself, I am enough as I am, regardless of what anyone else thinks? Marcus Aurelius once said, do not let your happiness depend on things outside yourself. And this is the core of the matter. If you tie your value to what others do, you are handing them the key to your happiness. But if you learn to see your value from within, to realize your true greatness, you will become like towering mountains, steady, strong, unshaken by the storms. Remember, my friend, you are the gem that shines by itself, not by the sparkle of others. Redefining your self-worth, my friend, is a journey that begins from within, where the true light lies. Imagine that you are standing in front of a mirror. This mirror only reflects your external image, but it is completely incapable of revealing your truth, your inner depth, and your true worth. This is the case with others when they judge you or distance themselves from you. They see a superficial reflection, perhaps an incomplete idea or an imperfect impression. But the question you must ask yourself is, do I allow this distorted reflection to define my value? The true Stoic would never do that. He realizes that his worth is not tied to the opinion of others or their actions. His value cannot be taken from him because it comes from within, from his deep knowledge of himself, from his actions that reflect his principles, and from his convictions that govern his life. When you find yourself in a situation of neglect or disregard, don't ask, why did they do that? Instead, ask yourself, what does that say about me? If the answer is nothing, then you are on the right path. In moments like these, take a deep breath and pause for a while. Give yourself the time to redefine yourself. Ask yourself, what makes me special? What skills, values, or experiences add weight and meaning to my life? The Stoic does not seek recognition from the outside because he knows that true recognition begins from within. When you recognize your value, you will not wait for anyone to remind you of it, and you will not need anyone to confirm it for you. Let me paint a simple scene for you. You are walking on a dark path, and you have a lamp with you. The light you need to complete your journey comes from your hand, not from any external source. This is how your value is. It is the light you carry within you, not what others see in you. If you understand this truth, your life will change completely. You will begin to see yourself in a different way. You will stop trying to please others, and instead, you will focus on becoming the person you want to be. You will be the leader of your journey, the light that illuminates your path. This is the essence of true power, to know who you are and live accordingly. Understanding the value of silence. My friend, when you face neglect or distance, the first thing that may come to your mind is the question, why? Why did this happen? But the wise Stoic does not allow these questions to take over his mind or rob him of his inner peace. Instead, he turns to a powerful weapon that is priceless, silence. But let me clarify something important. This is not silence of weakness or surrender. It is the silence of strength and wisdom. Silence here is not only about words, but about the scattered thoughts that whirl endlessly in your mind. It is giving yourself a break from replaying scenarios of the situation, taking a moment of calm to listen to yourself, away from the noise of the external world. Remember the words of the philosopher Epictetus. It is not what happens to you that disturbs you, but your thoughts about what happens. When you commit to silence, you give yourself a priceless gift, time to regain control over your emotions and thoughts. Often, the first emotional reaction is filled with weakness and haste, and you may think at that moment that you need to respond or confront quickly. But the Stoic knows very well that haste is the enemy of wisdom. Take this moment of silence as an opportunity to reconsider things from a new perspective. Ask yourself honestly, does the neglect of others reflect my true value? Of course not. The neglect of others is not a mirror of your value, but a reflection of what is within them, not what is within you. And here lies the beauty of silence. It not only gives you deep insight, but also the space to act in a way that befits you, with the steadiness of Stoics and the dignity of the wise. This silence is the power that allows you to rise above the situation, elevating yourself away from the whirlpool of negative emotions. Since you have reached this point, it means that you are a person seeking depth and aspiring to understand the true wisdom of Stoicism. I want you to leave a comment expressing your perspective on this moment. Maybe you write, I am discovering myself. This simple sentence encapsulates the spirit of the matter and invites us all to participate in the journey of growth and reflection. And don't forget that your words and comments contribute to building this community of contemplation and inspiration. Let us be together beacons of calm and wisdom in a world full of noise. The art of giving space. Often when someone decides to distance themselves from you or ignore you, we find ourselves trapped in a whirlwind of questions. Why did this happen? What did I do? How do I get them back? But a wise person does not allow themselves to fall into this dark corner. They understand a profoundly deep truth. Not everything in life requires chasing or explanation. Sometimes what things truly need is space. Space you give to yourself before you give it to others. Space is not weakness, nor is it a sign that you have given up on the situation or stopped caring. Rather, it is a refined art, an art of self-respect and respecting others. When you give others space, you are indirectly telling them, I value you enough to give you the freedom to choose. At the same time, I value myself enough to realize that my worth does not depend on you. Imagine holding sand in your fist. The tighter you squeeze, the more sand slips through your fingers. This is how it is with people. Sometimes the more you hold on to them, the more they drift away. But if you open your hand and let things take their natural course, you will find that what is meant to stay will stay effortlessly. Giving space also means giving yourself time to think deeply. Ask yourself, is this person or situation truly worth my energy? Because, my friend, in the end, your energy is limited. Why waste it chasing someone who has chosen to leave? A wise person understands that their energy is precious, like a jewel. They invest it carefully in things that truly matter. And when they give space, they build relationships based on mutual respect, whether with others or themselves. Through this, they exhibit a quiet strength, a kind of confidence that makes others reconsider their positions. But even if they don't return, it's okay, because you have simply chosen to move forward with dignity and inner peace. Always remember, things forced by pressure don't last, but what is built on respect and freedom lives forever. So, give space. Start with yourself first, then give it to others. You won't lose anything. On the contrary, you'll gain everything. Avoid falling into despair. My friend, let me tell you something important. Feeling despair is like a hidden trap that lurks when you face rejection or neglect. It quietly creeps inside you and begins whispering those toxic thoughts. You're not enough. You have no value. But here lies the difference between an ordinary person and a wise Stoic. The Stoic does not allow such thoughts to control their destiny because they understand that despair is not an option. When facing tough situations, they always remind themselves that life is not a straight line. Everything changes, people come and go, situations transform, and circumstances shift. What seems like a loss or defeat today may become a great turning point tomorrow. Stoicism teaches us that pain, no matter how harsh, is only a temporary phase. It is a chapter in the book of your life that ends to make way for a new chapter. So, when you feel like you're standing on the edge of despair, look deep within and ask yourself, do I really need this person or thing to make me happy? Could their absence be an opportunity for me to grow stronger? The Stoic does not drown in sorrow because they know their true strength lies in their control over their thoughts. Life, my friend, is far too short to waste on chasing people or crying over situations that aren't worth it. Instead, take this moment as an opportunity to rebuild yourself, find a new passion, develop your skills, start a project you've been postponing for a long time, or simply sit in quiet reflection and rediscover your old dreams. The Stoic believes that every tough moment carries within it a golden opportunity, but it only reveals itself to those who choose to see it. And if you ever find yourself surrounded by dark thoughts one day, remember this: nothing can defeat you except yourself. This is not just a quote, it's a fact. What happens outside is not the problem. It's how you choose to deal with it. In the end, it depends on you and what you decide to do now. So don't let any situation break your spirit. Hold on to your strength and begin to see life through the eyes of the wise Stoic. Stay with me, for we are still at the beginning of the journey, and what awaits you is greater than you can imagine. Communication and confrontation. Imagine this scene with me. Someone dear to your heart suddenly and without warning begins to ignore or distance themselves from you without any clear explanation. At first, you feel confused and perhaps even hurt. Thoughts start creeping into your mind. Did I make a mistake? Is there a misunderstanding? Or am I no longer important to them? These feelings are entirely natural, but they are not the answer you need. The wise Stoic does not run away from confrontation, but they also do not react impulsively. The first step they take is to pause and reflect. They ask themselves, should I speak up? And if I decide to speak, what should I say? Silence here is not weakness, but a moment of contemplation. A step back, not to ignore the problem, but to view it from a broader perspective. And when you decide to speak, let your words be honest and clear, yet calm and composed. Simple words like, I feel that something has changed, and I'd like to understand what's happening, may be enough to open the door to an honest conversation. Do not always expect to receive a complete or satisfying answer, but merely being willing to communicate and understand the situation demonstrates your inner strength and respect for yourself and the other person. And here lies the greater lesson from Stoicism. Confrontation is not a battlefield to prove yourself, nor is it an attempt to change the other person's mind by force. It is a courageous act that says, I deserve clarity. What happens after that, whether you get an explanation or not, is beyond your control. What matters most is that you were honest with yourself and the other person, and that you chose to face the situation with courage and dignity. Always remember, confrontation is not merely a tool for solving a problem, but an opportunity for growth and discovering the extent of your true strength. The value of not chasing. My friend, let's speak honestly. The idea of chasing in itself is not only exhausting, but also like an endless race. Imagine yourself running after something that keeps escaping you, and the closer you get, the farther it moves away. What happens here? You lose your energy, your focus, and even begin to lose your self-respect. Chasing is not bravery, nor is it proof of love or care. In truth, it is a surrender of your dignity. People who choose to distance themselves from you, if they truly value you, will not put you in a position of having to chase them. Real relationships are not a game of push and pull, nor a race. They are a meeting in the middle, built on mutual respect and recognition of worth. Chasing makes you a prisoner. It consumes your time and emotions on people who may not value you as you deserve. And here lies the question: why run after someone who doesn't want you? The wise Stoic understands that what escapes you was never truly yours. People who value your worth will not ask you to run after them. If someone wants to leave, let them go. Because holding on and chasing means you are tying yourself to something that has ended or was never complete to begin with. True freedom, as Stoics believe, starts from within. It is the freedom from attachment, from the constant need to prove your worth to others. More importantly, freedom is the power to know when to redirect your energy toward yourself. Ask yourself, how much time have you wasted trying to win back people who are no longer part of your life? And how many opportunities have you closed off while you could have opened new doors to light your path? Remember, my friend, the person who chooses to leave is not necessarily your adversary. They may simply have finished their role in your story. Now, it's your turn. What will you do with this story? Will you keep running after those who don't value you, or will you rewrite new chapters filled with growth, strength, and self-confidence? I'm not asking you to become cold-hearted, but to be wise. To realize that respecting yourself is the greatest value you can achieve. To understand that there is power in respecting yourself more than seeking respect from others. And if you still find it difficult to adopt this idea, remember the words of the Stoics. Things come and go, but the self remains. Focus on yourself, and you will discover that what you were chasing may not have been worthy of you in the first place. Focus on your personal growth. Dear reader, take a moment and reflect with me. What does it truly mean to focus on yourself? When we feel ignored or neglected, we tend to automatically seek answers outside of ourselves. We try to understand, why did this happen, or how can I fix it? But let me tell you something. True strength doesn't come from the outside, it comes from within you. When you face neglect, don't see it as merely a challenge or a test, but view it as a golden opportunity. An opportunity to rise in your own eyes, not in the eyes of others. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this situation? How can I use this time to become a better version of myself? Stoics always direct their focus toward what they can control. You cannot control the feelings or choices of others, but you can absolutely control yourself, your skills, your knowledge, and your goals. Imagine deciding to invest this time in developing yourself. Perhaps you begin learning a skill you've long postponed, or you read a book that opens up new horizons, or you exercise to take care of your body and health. Every day you spend focusing on yourself is a day you get closer to the best version of yourself. And on this journey, you won't need the approval or acceptance of anyone else, because you've simply started to see your true worth through your own eyes. Imagine waking up one day and telling yourself, today I'll do something small to make myself better than yesterday. One small step each day, but over time, it builds a mountain of achievements. And when you look back after a while, you'll see how those moments that seemed painful at the time were actually a great turning point in your life. I want you to notice this. When you invest in yourself, you begin creating a life that inspires others. You start attracting the right people, those who truly value you. Not because you chased them or tried to prove something to them, but because you became the best version of yourself. True strength isn't in chasing others, but in making them wish to stay by your side, because you are someone worth it. My friend, being ignored by others is not the end of the world. It is a gateway to growth and liberation. The Stoics teach us that true strength comes from within. Let these moments build you, not break you. Always remember, you don't need to prove your worth to anyone. Your worth is evident in your actions, in how you conduct yourself, and in what you believe in. Stay calm, stay strong, and stay stoic.